Hello, my name is Lawrence, a trainer at Campabits. I am a web and graphics designer. Welcome to this tutorial. Today we are going to look at Photoshop for beginners, and then we are going to be using CS6, Adobe CS6. We want to see how you use Photoshop from starting up with opening the document to learning the interface and how you can create a new file. So if you have Photoshop installed, you can search for the software. So Adobe said we are going to be using Adobe Photoshop CS6. I'll select my software and then it loads. So when Photoshop opens, this is how it looks like. And then we are going to look through the menu and the tools and where we can get the options that we need to work with Photoshop. So if you can look at my cursor on the top here, we have our top menu. We have different menus. We have file, edit, image, layer, type, select, filter, 3D, view, window, and help. So each of these menus, when you click, for example, if I click on file, you can see the different options there. If I click on edit, you can see the different options. Now, most of these options are not active just because we don't have any document that we are working on. So if you don't have any document in Photoshop, some of these options might not be active. So we want to see how we open a new document and how we work with some of these options in Photoshop. First, to do that, we go to file, then we say new. This window will pop up, and then you can select a name you want for your file or your document, and then under the preset we have different options. We have the default Photoshop size, we have US paper, international paper, we have photo, we have web, we have mobile and devices, and then we have film and video. So you can use some of these options depending on the type of document you want to create. For example, if you want to design maybe an interface for a mobile phone, you can use the option of the mobile and devices. If you want to design maybe a document for a video or a movie, you can use film and video. If you want to design a web page or some content that is going to be uploaded on a website, then you can use the web. You can use the photo if you want to create something about photo or an image. International paper is equivalent to an A4, so it's a size of an A4 paper. An A4 is a normal size paper in a book or from the rim. And then those are the options we have under preset. For this case, we are going to remain with custom. Custom means that you have the power to use any unit that you want, so you can customize and add anything that you want to use. And then on the left here we have the units. For this case, if you click on the drop down, we have pixels, we have inches, we have centimeters, we have millimeters, we have points, we have pickers, and then we have columns. For our case, I'm going to use pixels, and then I can put the values that I want. So my width, I'm going to use 1080 pixels, and then my height, I'll use 720 pixels, and then the resolution, every time you're creating a document that is going to be printed somewhere, you select a resolution of 300 pixels. But if we are designing something to be used on the web or something that is not going to be printed, then we can use a resolution of 72. So resolution, the value that you select or the resolution that you use affects the work that you've designed in case it's going to be printed. If I use a resolution of 72 and I take that work to be printed, the work is not going to look nice because the resolution that I've used will not match the resolution of the printer. So a printer uses a resolution of 300 pixels per inch and then a color mode of CMYK. So you have to be mindful about that. So the color mode, we have RGB, we have bitmap, we have grayscale, we have CYMK, and then we have the lab color. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, and then CYMK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So for our case, we are going to leave it at RGB because we are designing or we are creating a document that is not going to be printed. And then the background contents, this is how your canvas will look in the background or your document. If I select transparent, my background will be transparent. If I select background color, it will have color. If I select white, my canvas will be white. So I'll leave it at that. 1080 the width, height of 720, a resolution of 72. I've used pixels as my units, the color mode RGB, and then the background contents I've used white. After setting everything that I need, then I'll say okay. So this is my new canvas, or this is my new document. This is how it looks. It's white because I selected the background contents to be white. And then you realize when you open a new document, if I go back and I click on file, you realize that now most of the options are active. Even when I go to edit, even when I point on image, when I point on layer, you realize more options are active because right now we have a document to work with. So this is my new document, or this white space, you can call it a canvas. And then under the file still, this is where we go in case we want to save this document that we've created. So you can go to save as and then save as desired. And then on your left you have the tools panel. These are the tools that we use when we are working with documents or photos in Photoshop. So we shall see how to use these tools in our next tutorial. And on each tool where you see something like an arrow pointing down, it indicates that there are more tools there. For example, if I click, I can be able to see more options, and then if I click on the next one, still I can be able to see the more options of tools available in that. So we've created our new document, and then under the edit we have the options of redo and undo in case you've made a mistake. We have the copy, paste, paste special, clear, and other options. And then under the image, this is where we go if we want options for the image. For example, changing from color to black and white, to adjusting the image contrast and brightness, levels, curves, and everything. And then under the layer, this is where we go in case we want to create a new layer. It's very important that in Photoshop we work mostly with layers. And then we have the type. we have the select, we have the filter and everything. But some of the most important options in Photoshop is the window menu. So under the window menu, most of the time, for the first timers, someone can open Photoshop when your Photoshop looks like this, whereby you don't have any option to work with, something like this. So if you ever open your Photoshop and it appears like this, no tools on the left, no layers panel, no options, no anything, you always know that you have to activate the tools that you want to use. So for us to be able to activate all the tools that we need to use, it's under the window option. So if I click on the window menu, for example, if I want to display my Photoshop tools, I'll simply come to tools, I check that, then you can see my tools will appear on the left. Then I'll go back. Then for example, if I want the layers, I'll select layers, realize my layers panel will appear here. Then if I want for example the character, I'll select that, my character option will appear here. And if I want maybe the paragraph, I'll do that, it will appear. And maybe if I want the color, my colors will appear here. So depending on the tools that you want, all the options you need, you go to window, that is where you go to be able to activate them. So anything that you're not seeing, maybe you can say my Photoshop has a problem or what, but normally you just have to come to window and then you can activate whatever you want. And then under the view we have different options, but most of the things that we use from here maybe rulers. For example, if I go to view and I say rulers, my rulers will be visible. So we use rulers sometimes if we are designing something and we need specific measurements. So for example, from the right, if you've activated your rulers, you just come, click and drag from here, and then you get that. Then if you want the vertical one, you can come, do that, and then you can go back and select another one. You can go back, select another one like that. So for example, if you need something to be specific, then you can be able to do that. If you finish using these rulers, then you can always take them back like that, like that, and then like that. So it's important to know what you want to use. You only activate what you need to use. And then another thing that is important when it comes to Photoshop is layers. Layers are very important. So in Photoshop, we work with layers mostly. We shall see how we open and edit different layers in our next tutorial. But we've seen how to create a new document, how do we access the tools, how do we activate the options that we need to use, and then how do we activate and use the rulers. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our Campabits YouTube channel for more tutorials about Photoshop.